Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, dwyerboxingnews.com. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. You know, no division right now in boxing fascinates me as much as the middleweight division. Now, what you're about to hear is simply my opinion, right? The mainstream media has a different opinion. They're different guys at 160 pounds that they're selling you, right? The mainstream media might be right. Other boxing pundits might be right. But this is how I see it. I'm just going to spill my opinion here. I believe there are 4 elite middleweights, right? Forget all the hype. I believe there are 4 elite middleweights. Let's talk about those 4, right? There's Sergio Martinez. He's a southpaw, right? He's able to fight low. He likes to bend at the waist. He likes to dictate cadence. He'll drop his hands, but he's still hard to hit because he's low. He plays angles. He stays far away from you. He likes to circle you during the fight. Now, the interesting thing with Martinez is that Martinez, while he's fighting outside, likes for you to come find him. He likes to be stalked. He doesn't have a problem fighting guys like Paul Williams or Kermit Cintron, because as they come in, Martinez is able to duck under their punches and time a straight left hand. And that straight left hand is concussive. It's one of the better punches in the sport, right? But Martinez has a problem with guys who are clever, who could fight on their back foot. I frankly thought he lost most of the early part of his fight against Matthew Macklin. I thought early in their fight, Darren Barker gave Martinez problems, and I thought Martinez had a problem figuring out Kelly Pavlik's jab, right? But make no mistake, Martinez is one of the 4. I do not consider Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. to be one of the 4 best at the middleweight division. I'm expecting Martinez to beat him. I'm making this video on August the 21st, 2012. We'll find out shortly if I'm right. I see Chavez Jr. as a big brawler. I see Martinez as more of a technician. I think Chavez Jr. is going to get deconstructed. I have a video up already on that fight. I think that Chavez Jr. can't match the hand speed of a Sergio Martinez. I think Chavez Jr. is defensively challenged. You saw that early in the Andy Lee fight. Andy Lee looked good early. Then Chavez Jr. was able to walk him down and stalk him. I think Chavez Jr.'s style is exactly the kind of style that will play right into Martinez's hands. The second elite fighter at middleweight, in my opinion, is Gennady Golovkin. Now, that's a name you need to know, right? Boxing insiders claim that Golovkin actually sparred against Chavez Jr. privately and got the better of him. I'm not surprised. Also, there's an article online about Golovkin sparring with Saul Alvarez, right? Golovkin of the middleweights, even with Martinez's great straight left hand, in my opinion, is the most offensive. He is the best puncher. He can take you out with either hand. And while he's patient, and, while he has his guard up and he's patient, make no mistake, he's a stalker. At the end of the day, Gennady Golovkin likes to have you on your back foot. He wants to hunt you down. The other 2 elite fighters, in my opinion, at middleweight are Felix Sturm, right? He has a belt, right? Sturm just beat Sebastian Savic inside of the distance. He's a highly structured fighter who likes to key everything off his jab. The word tight comes to mind, right? He has a tight defense. His jab is like a piston. He likes to try to wait for you to tire out and then come forward and bust you up with a jab, make it hard for you to hit him. He crouches over, so it's hard to hit his body, right? His jab is really his punch. Think winky right, right? Sturm likes to fight in Germany. The Germans like precision. They like structure. Sturm's jab allows him to win the slow rounds. He usually gets close decisions. But let me just say this. He's been slowing down of late. If you look past the Zwick fight, you'll see that he had problems with Martin Murray. That fight was officially a draw. Quite frankly, even though I picked Sturm over Matthew Macklin, when I saw a replay of the fight, I thought Matthew Macklin clearly won that fight. Right? Sturm is 33 years old. The other elite fighter, the fourth elite fighter at middleweight, is Sturm's opponent in a week. That's Australia's Daniel Geale. Now, Geale, quite frankly, is interesting because he is a different style. He's a hoverer, right? How do you put it? Daniel Geale might be the best boxer of these four. In fact, there's a fifth. Daniel Geale might be the best boxer of the four I've named. He likes to stay outside. He doesn't stalk you. What he does is he just circles you to death, throwing hooks, throwing combinations, capitalizing on every opening. Right? He's beaten structured fighters like Sebastian Sylvester, who fight kind of like Felix Sturm, right? Very tight defense, shoot a jab. Geale was able to beat Sylvester using lateral movement. He kept Sylvester turning, right? Sylvester was structured, but again, too structured. Sylvester was on railroad tracks. By turning, he kept forcing Sylvester to reset. And of course, as Sylvester turned, Geale would get off hooks and headshots and then would back out. He has excellent legs, right? His loss was to Anthony Mundine. And even that loss was by split decision. And Americans need to realize that Mundine is one of the more interesting fighters of the last 10 years. Mundine, of course, also beat Danny Green, right? Mundine is an underrated master boxer, right? He outthought Geale, but understand Mundine is more mobile than Felix Sturm. There is a fifth elite fighter at 160. I'm surprised when I prepared my notes I didn't mention him because, in my opinion, he's as good as anybody on this list. And that's Dmitry Pirog. Understand, Pirog has few peers defensively in the sport. Few, right? Pirog is complicated. He can fight you right-handed. He can fight you left-handed. Pirog is a master boxer. More importantly, Pirog has the kind of game where he can allow a stalker like Golovkin to come right up on him, and he's still able to operate because his defense is that good. But he's not as structured as, let's say, a Felix Sturm, right? I do not place Hassan Njiku with these top five guys. I do not place Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. with these top five guys. Quite frankly, if Miguel Cotto comes to 160, I think he'd have a problem with all five of these guys. Now let's talk about Geale versus Sturm. If these guys were fighting, let's say at a neutral location, quite frankly, I would pick Daniel Geale in this fight. I just like his style more than Sturm's. I think he's more fluid. I think he has beaten structured, active fighters like Roman Karmazin. He's able to fight you, circling you. He's quick with his feet. He has faster feet than Felix Sturm. He's more unpredictable than Sturm. I think Sturm's going to have a hard time landing his jab. Then I think things are going to start to fall apart with Felix Sturm. But let me say this. Unfortunately, this fight is in Germany. Now, I know Geale beat Sebastian Sylvester in Germany, but beating Felix Sturm in Germany is a different can of worms, right? The crowd is certainly going to be a Sturm crowd, right? Matthew Macklin found out the hard way. It's very hard to beat a guy with good defense and a persistent jab in Germany, right? I think the fight's unbettable. If I were to bet the fight, it would be a distance play. I would take the over 8.5 rounds, but the casino has drained that prop of its profits, right? In other words, with that prop, you're only getting a rate of return at something like 10%. So as a boxing fan, here's what I expect in this fight. I expect Sturm to look limited. Sturm, who knocked out Sebastian Zvick in the last fight, I don't believe will come close to knocking out Daniel Geale. Keep in mind, Zvick had a problem avoiding Chavez Jr., right? And Zvick's defense is such that his body is open a lot of the time. Geale is a different animal altogether, right? Geale is like a jazz player. In other words, he's an improvisational artist. He'll be reading Felix Sturm. He'll be keying off Felix Sturm's jab. As Felix Sturm comes forward, Geale might take a step back or he might take a step to the side. I believe by the third round, he's going to figure out how to counter Sturm's jab with regularity, right? At least to make it clear to the judges that Sturm is having a hard time landing on him. Right now, the mistake Matthew Macklin, a mid-range hooker, made was he stood right in front of Sturm and just tried to out-volume Sturm. This fight's going to be a little bit higher level in my opinion. I believe Geale is going to be moving around the ring in such a way that Sturm is going to look like a guy who's too tight, having a hard time catching up with a ghost, right? I think Geale outboxes Sturm. I just don't know if he gets the decision. What I do expect is this fight to make it into the later rounds. I like the over on this fight. Let me say this too. I see a plus 450 on the under in this fight. You know what? While I expect this fight to go over, that's awfully tempting. Because Geale has a punch, and there is a remote possibility that Geale just establishes such supremacy early in this fight that Sturm gets thrown off his game, opens up a bit, and then gets hit with some hard shots. Let's remember, Sturm has been knocked out before, right? But I'm not recommending that play. What I am saying is, don't be surprised if Geale outboxes Felix Sturm and either wins a close decision or gets robbed in Germany. Geale's a world-class boxer. He's a world-class talent. The problem with too much structure, which is what Felix Sturm has, is you could defeat that with movement, lateral movement, counters, and combinations. And Daniel Geale throws excellent hooks with both hands, and he moves around the ring too well to be considered a mid-range hooker, and his defense is pretty good, where I believe you're going to see times in this fight where Felix Sturm is throwing a jab, hitting absolutely nothing, and Geale, like Sergio Martinez, will have his hands down, standing right to the side of Sturm's jab. I think this fight's unbettable, but I'm expecting Daniel Geale, the underdog, to do much better than expected. Let me hear from you. Leave your thoughts here on YouTube, and visit us at gamblersadvisory.com and dwyerboxingnews.com. Also, don't be afraid to disagree with me. I know that there are a lot of Chavez Jr. fans out there. I know there are a lot of Hassan Njikum fans out there. I know there are a lot of Miguel Cotto fans out there, right? If there's a middleweight I've overlooked, and no, I don't consider Kelly Pavlik a middleweight anymore. He's fighting at 168. If there's a middleweight I overlooked that you think I need to consider, let us all know who that is. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.